Welcome back, everyone. Happy New Year. Hope you all had a great holiday season. So to kick off the new year, I decided I wanted to do sort of a reflection on what has progressed overall. Some of the stuff that's happened in Main City and with the Loaded Lions project within the past year. So I think the best way to kick that off is maybe to go over some of the major things that did happen. So the first thing I want to talk about is, last year around this time, we were actually still participating in some of the minor events. So there's World Series 2, right? So just before World Series 2, we were also doing some of the showdowns, right? So we had these weekend competitions leading into the end of the year there. And then with this one, this was right at the start of the new year. So we had all of these little showdowns going on leading up to the main event, which was the World Series 2. And they had named that the Great War. That was the clash between the Loaded Lions and the Dark Lions. And this happened basically for the month of February. I think it started on January 31st or something like that. So right at the end of January, and basically lasted for the 4 weeks of February. Now, one thing that did happen with this competition, which was quite interesting, was, there we go. Okay, so now it's actually showing my rank. So was the change from Legion leading the war here for pretty much the entire competition, right? Legion had been winning, but there was a fair amount of people that sort of had their allegiance not casted quite yet. So, Fiend for Crow, as well as a few of these other players, I think Ash No Cash, and there was a couple other people that ended up choosing Void right at the very end. And this had been a problem that had been called out, right from the beginning, of not forcing a choice for which faction you're going to play for. Now, I get, some people want to play without a faction, but I know there's been a lot of feedback in regards to the timeline for choosing a faction, and leaving it to the last, 24 hours of a 4-week competition is definitely not the time frame that I think it should be done in. I think, you need to choose for a 4-week within like the first week. That would make sense. In 1 week competitions, you've got like 2, maybe 3 days at the most to be able to make that choice. But yeah, so Legion ended up losing that one to the last minute choice of some of the quote unquote mercenaries or assassins, however you want to call them. So that was an interesting development. It is what it is, right? You could see some people here with 0 cash as well per second, but that was due to one of the newer implements that happened last, in 2024. Being the live power system. So that also helped, solidify how the leaderboard works. But that was the first main thing that happened, right? So we had the World Series 2 with Legion losing. They ended up bringing in some, we went down, I guess, into the sewers, and the Void faction sort of scattered everywhere. But yeah, it was just sort of like it was an interesting development, and this led into the Fractured Fates. So they did have one more little competition, which they classified still as part of Season 2, which is this one right here. So Road to the Fractured Fate. So this was the final one done in the same style as the previous competitions. Now, there's not been a major change in how competitions are played, but there was a major implementation which we'll talk about soon, that really did change how you really build your cities, right? So when we were competing in these past competitions, you only had 10 lands, right? There was no regions. There was none of that newer stuff. It was just your 10 lands with the best land that you had being your main first land. Similar to how the regions break down now, right? So if you have a mythical as your best land, it's going to be the region you're building on, and then it sort of works down from there. You got your legendaries, then your epics, right? And then you've got your rares, and then starters, right? So these are all the different types of tiers that you have for building cities on, right? And after the main competition, they had the Road to Fractured Fate, and then they also had the Mint that came out, right? So in what was it, March? They brought out the well, actually, sorry, one thing before I skip over that, they did also bring in the Lion token, right? So there was a major airdrop for Lion token. I forget when that happened. It was something like March, I think it was. Yeah, so it would have been like sometime in March, maybe at the end of March. I'm forgetting exact timelines, but regardless, they did the Lion token drop. So a lot of that was airdropped to, loaded Lion holders, people that had First Frontier lands, backpacks, tools of the trade, as well as the tactical gear, such as your weapons and armor. So there was an airdrop given out to a lot of players that held these assets, and they had a few other like bonus criteria. So if you had like a mythical land or a legendary dark or loaded lion, if you were part of the lions in the limelight, they also gave you a little bit bigger allotment. So sadly, I wasn't one at that point. But I am one now, so that was kind of cool. That happened number 71. So after that, then we did have the Mint. So let me see if I can find on here. We've got, where is it? Let's go back to this. Okay, so maybe it's under World. They did just recently change this whole website too. So that was kind of cool. They launched this website, but now there's also been a lot more changes. I haven't really had too much of a chance to dig through it all, but here we go. So under World, you can go to the crypto.com lands. So originally, we only had the First Frontier lands, and the First Frontier lands consisted of your starter, which was the Crimson Dune, your rare, which was the Aurora Wild, the Sapphire Sanctum, which is your epic. They call it the Sapphire Lagoon. And then there was the Molten Cavern, which is the legendary. And then we had the Blocked Nexus, which was your mythical, the Blocked Chain. So these are the regions that got introduced after the Fractured Fate land mint. And we added a lot more land types, right? So as you can see, here's all the regions. And then they also added two other new tiers, two new lands to a new tier of land type, which is called the Primordial lands. So you've got your Lucent Ascent, which is the Diadem of Fate, and then there's the Fractured Throne on your Stygian Storm. So this was the next big implementation after the mint of the Fractured Fate lands. So you could mint, bulk packs. I think a lot of people ended up getting, the short end of the stick here when it came to minting. There was a lot of people scalping or multi-account purchasing. I know I didn't get through on my main account, so I ended up sending all the money I was planning on minting with to my mom's account because she was in line as well. And we ended up getting a few decent lands, some legendaries. I also minted a Primordial, which I can show you guys right here. So I did mint this Primordial, which was kind of cool to be able to actually mint something decent. So that's sort of the big milestone then, right? So once they finally implemented the lands, they brought in the world map. So this was like a major overhaul to the whole system. So they brought in this whole world map. So now we have all of the regions laid out in sort of like a nice map so we can see sort of the world that they're building. And they also brought in some quests, right? So you got little daily quests that you can do, things that are pretty simple, basic things, right? Come in, attack, place some furniture, level up a business, blah, 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 right? Nothing super crazy, but at least it's the ground being laid for future implementation of more in-depth like weekly quests, exploration, stuff like that. So yeah, they brought in the regions. They brought in a new implementation of how the regions worked. So the biggest change was that when they brought in the regions, they generated your income based off of the lowest income generating lands, right? So say for example, like you can see right now, I have a bunch of lands that have 0 cash income coming in, primarily because I play drop down now, since they've confirmed to me that there's no reason to build a diverse city. It's just build a city with like very lean infrastructure, right? So you only need 4, maybe 5 businesses with high quality. But prior to this major change, when they implemented the world map system, they had the regions, right? So with regions, you were able to clear one region to 0 and drop down, and you could do a lot more drop down play and be able to target people a little bit easier. Then they decided to switch it back. So they got rid of the lowest income. And I mean, it's sort of torn, right? A lot of people in the community enjoyed it, myself included. I really liked the lowest income. I felt that it was rewarding to players that were building a more diverse city, opposed to, people that do just play super lean. But they ended up reversing that and going back to a more lean system where you only need a few really strong businesses, or you could just purchase a really strong business at max level and just level up with cool cats and catch up to it. So those are some stuff I'm going to talk about in my next video for newer players that are starting, as well as, maybe some older players that are getting close to Division 1. But anyways, they brought back the, income being generated from all of your lands. Now, my guess is originally they didn't want to have us generating too much gold. So, upgrade costs had remained the same. But then when they reversed it back to, no lowest income generating off of your regions that way, and instead it was every region generating cash, they 7 times the cost of everything, right? So they increased the cash cost. After they had done with the expansion, the world expansion, and introduced regions, they also increased the cost of everything diamond-wise, except for the cost on businesses, right? So when you do your spins, these used to be 100K. Because now there's 7 regions, they bumped it up to 700K. Same with the abilities, right? Abilities got more expensive. These used to be like, 1 million or something like that. Even cheaper depending on how many NFTs you had. And then as well as if you take a look, boosters, right? So these boosters here used to be a lot cheaper. Like this one used to be 10. This used to be like 9. This was like 5. This was like 2, something like that. And this was like 90K or something like that. Super cheap. But yeah, they 7x'd all of these as well when they increased the regions. But with them increasing the regions, we were finally able to achieve the Lord of the Lands achievement. So this one is to have basically, 100 arid plots. So prior to them introducing that, it was pretty much impossible. So you can see this is the cost for, I believe, number 18. So, it doesn't seem super expensive now when I look at how many diamonds I have. But back when, we were only generating like 5, 8, something like that. Like I think I was generating 8 million per hour back when before we had the regional expansion and the world expansion here. And then once they introduced all of the new lands from the Fractured Fates, I got bumped up to like 46 or something like that, 47. And then with the business combos, which is something we'll talk about soon too, that all sort of changed. So, the diamonds became a lot more plentiful. So with that, we also saw a bit of a market dip. But first, I want to talk about the business combos. So business combos were also introduced. Now, originally, I had thought, introducing business combos needed to increase your diamond allotments, right? So that's what they ended up going with, which is, I think, pretty good, because now you're able to put down business combos. So for like example, you could pair with the LL Sport, one of the Barbary gyms, right? And now we have a business combo active, and it gives me 20K per hour, right? So there's a nice little bonus of being able to generate diamonds. But again, now with the influx of how many diamonds you have, it doesn't really seem as useful. Cash has become the major limiting factor that a lot of people chase after. So it became that drop-down play style of, okay, I need to generate more cash. The best way to generate cash As you can see here, I've got a decent little attack bonus going of 621%. So you're able to drop down and ascertain a better bonus than what you would get from buying like boosters and stuff like that. So you can pop a booster on this business as well and be doing really well, right? So like as I level this one up here, I can put this lightning booster on it now, and effectively it's at 28 AQ. I need to level it up a little bit more. It's only level 20, right? But if you look, so 30, and then it's actually at 400, right? When you look at the actual output that it's doing. And that's because you're able to drop down and get a lot of bonuses. So that little change, where people could either prioritize getting extra diamonds by building business combos, but you would sort of level up slower versus being able to drop down and stack a major attack boost and be able to level up a little bit better that way. That's where when they got rid of that lowest region for income generation, it just became absolutely useless for me in perspective to be able to use business combos, because I already have enough diamonds. I already have more than enough to spend. So it just comes down to building up a better cash reserve. And the best way to do that is to drop down and get attacks in. So that's sort of the route that I've taken. Foregone building a diverse city, which is my biggest criticism about switching back to the current play style that they had. I thought the innovation of the lowest income was really cool, but there was a lot of backlash just because people that weren't playing with a very diverse city ended up, feeling the pain. And it's typically the people that were at the top of the leaderboard. They realized, okay, my old strategy of, one good business and then the rest are just cool cats isn't going to work anymore, because now that good business, say it was an arcade or a museum or something like that, that business is no longer producing any cash. So now they're stuck with just cool cat cash, right? And the cool cats, when you get up to the higher levels, really don't provide you any income to be able to continue forward with your main business. So with that main business not producing anything, you basically got, stalemated. You couldn't do anything until you bought some more businesses and brought them up. So that was, I think, a bit frustrating for a lot of players. But for me, somebody that already had a fairly diverse city, I ended up, finding my strides and being able to move up the leaderboard a bit more, because I was able to, spread out my big businesses and have a really well diverse city. So back then, I think I was in the, mid to low 100s, somewhere around there. And then I made a push for trying to get into the top 100. Now you can see where I'm sitting at. I'm in the top, well, I'm at 26 now. I used to be top 25, but hopefully I can get a little bit of boost there going and flip Lion Bitcoin. But anyways, back to the year in review here. What I guess happened next after we got rid of the concept of lowest income, and they've already introduced all the regions and stuff like that. We started to do some more competitions, right? So then that's when they introduced a few of the other competitions. I forget what the next, actually, let's just go check. So 18, what was number 18 called? So Blazing the Trail Blitz. So yeah, basically then they just started doing a bunch of blitzes, and they did introduce some paid skins and stuff like that. So then we had the Uncharted Blitz, and then we had the Howl Point Blitz. And then we had the Nightmare Blitz. So this was pretty much right around October. And then the final one was the Elemental Blitz. So there was a series of blitzes going on. They also did add something that I thought was really cool, which was this daily reward calendar. Now you're able to basically come in, log in, collect daily a different prize. And then on some of the calendars, such as like October, at the end of October, they had a Halloween skin that dropped. At the end of December, when you hit the day 28, they had a Christmas skin. So let me just come here. We can look at this, and also go by quality. And that way I could show you this one as well. So here's the Christmas skin that they just brought out. Oops, not boost. So here's the Christmas skin. Hopefully nobody missed this one, the Home Sweet Hut. It looks pretty cool. Little gingerbread house, little loaded lion, plushie or like little keychain guy there, some presents sitting around. So let's take a look at it on the land. I think it looks cool. It's got like a gingerbread piece that the whole gingerbread house is built on. And then for Panthera, we had the ghostly cottage. So this is pretty cool looking as well. Sort of like a graveyard to me. Not much of a cottage, but that's what they called it. And of course, with these, they also brought in ones that you could buy. So those skins are each 1.5 boost for your business, or you could buy the upgraded one. It looks a little different, obviously, and they are an extra 1% higher. So with the introduction of these paid skins, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I was really hoping we would still see NFT unlocked skins, but it looks like they're purely going with NFT partnered skins that the community needs to buy. So for example, Synthtopia, they are in the game as an NFT collection, but their skin you do need to purchase. Wolf Swap doesn't have a NFT yet in the game, but there could be one coming soon. They did just do a Wolfie's Mint a couple months ago, so that could be coming. And then as to like the lion holding, I was really hoping we would have seen lion staking become forefront to be able to unlock this. And same with the capybara. If you were staking capybara token, the bara token on their website, maybe you could pull the data and you could have unlocked it. But sadly, they did not do that. But they did bring in lion staking, right? So you were able to stake on DeFi or in crypto.com. So you can see where I've staked here. All right profits, I would say. I mean, hey, it's just free staked, right? Still a long time. I did lock in for the 5-year stake. I'm a believer that the project's going to do well, so I figured I might as well put my money into something like that. It was free anyways. They gave it to me, so I could harvest this and convert it to whatever. But as of right now, I'm just sort of letting it ride. So it's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with the free lion token that I've got. I know there's been some complaints in regards to how the project's been run overall, but we'll get into some of those issues. As you can see, here's some of the lion economy stuff. We'll get into the roadmap stuff in a moment. So yeah, that sort of summarizes, I think, everything that we've had that was major. Now, along with these paid skins, they also brought out what they call like conqueror skins. So there was also so far 2 out of the 4 that have been released. So we've got this one for Crypto Ocean, who took rank 1 from the World Series 1 competition. And then we've also got Crypto Diamond's Cool Cat Lounge, which is for being the first person to hit Division 1. Though technically, it was just hitting P289, right? Prestige 289, because he did that prior to divisions even being a thing. So yeah, congratulations to those 2. Crypto Ocean does have another one coming. I believe it's the Barbary Gym. Sort of looks like a yacht club. And then Meta, he's got another one for being the first player to hit Division 2. And then there's a few other ones. If you missed it, we talked about it in the last podcast. But there's a few other opportunities to get Conqueror skins. One being the upcoming competition. If you do succeed and are rank 1, you're going to get a Conqueror skin for that. So a few other opportunities to get stuff. So that's sort of what we had happen overall with the skins and everything. Hopefully I didn't miss anything significant. The last big change I wanted to talk about, because I did mention it earlier, was the market. So we saw a sort of a doubling effect here with the amount of diamonds that have been brought into the game, with people being able to level up businesses a lot cheaper. We did see the market significantly crash. Like back Back last year at this time, you were able to purchase, or even during the World Series 2 competition, right? You were purchasing cool cats that were over Prestige 200 for over 100,000 vouchers, right? Like 100 crow. After the influx of people getting to P289, we saw the max basically get cut, well, not quite, but basically by 5x, right? So like we saw the price of them go from over 100 down to like they're under 20k right now, right? So 20 crow or like $2 at this point. So that was one major effect. The next major effect that really destroyed the market for prices on businesses was the introduction of 7 blueprints per level. So new players are able to get 7 blueprints, whereas previously, veteran players would get basically 1 blueprint for any level that started with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And then levels that were 6, 7, 8, or 9 were only bonuses, right? We didn't get blueprints for those. And as well as we didn't get blueprints every 10 levels for gold blueprints. We would only get it every 20 until we hit level 100. And then after that, we were given 1 every 10. That changed. They introduced the blueprints to new players pretty much with the update. And at that point, they were giving out 7 blueprints per level up. I guess maybe to encourage people to use the workshop a lot more. But then we really saw a massive crash, actually one thing we can check, and this will be really interesting, I think. So let's go and take a look at market, and we can check charts, and we can see over the course of the year. So there we go. So that's what we were looking at, and you can see the mad crash here, sort of August. That's when things really tanked. But even, around this point where I think is where they started introducing the 7 blueprints, we saw a little bit of a spike up and then it just tanked and it has not recovered since, right? Like, back at the start of the year or even in March, right? March, April, we were looking at, 80, 90, a significant amount of vouchers for legendary. But if you pull a legendary business out of that, you were able to sell an Apex for like 600k, right? Like, or 300k for a Q1 quality 1, or it just kind of went up from there, right? So there was a good payback if you pulled something like a Q4 arcade or something. You could sell that for like $1.5 million vouchers, right? So it was a bit of a gamble, but again, we sort of went from here's like the this is basically the competition right here. And then as the competition neared its end, that's where we saw the spike up. People getting excited about the game. And then they introduced the 7 blueprints and it just tanked. And now we're like way down here at abysmal costs, right? So it is what it is. We can also see that same pattern with the normal blueprints, right? They were sort of hovering around 3-ish, 2, 3, and they bounced up to like 10 per blueprint, and now they're back down and it's just a constant one. There's so many available at 1k, like you're probably never, like, look at it, 3,700 or 3,079 of them available for 1k, right? And 1.1k there's 9. So yeah, and then if you go over to auctions, you'll also notice here blueprints are pretty much abundant, right? Like you can flip through multiple pages and they'll all be at like 1k. And all these are expiring, right? Like these aren't being purchased. We're into the wrong ones. Like these aren't going to get purchased. Nobody's buying them. There's just too many blueprints. So that was a big factor also as to why the market crashed significantly. There's just not enough players right now. They're giving out too many blueprints. And I think diamonds are a bit too easy to come by, that they're able to level them up, and be able to sell the businesses for, a lot less than they used to. So yeah, that's sort of what happened with the market. And then the last little addition that did happen, and this was pretty recently, as you saw in the market here, there is now also a tab called Essence. So you can sell these essences or purchase essences. And the concept around them is to imbue a business with these essence packages, right? So you're able to then level up your business with a essence for a specific region, right? So that red one would be good for the Crimson Reaches. And when you use those, it increases certain benefits, like it gives you a little bit extra cash as a bonus, right? They did make a change from the initial introduction where it was basically useless to use. It was like a max of like 15% cash. And now they've bumped it up to a max of basically I think it's 450%. So now it's a little bit more enticing to use this new mechanic, but still something that I'm sort of sitting on the sidelines because even though I've got some decent quality businesses, it does reduce your capacity or your ability, to be able to increase the quality of your business, because you cannot merge a business that is imbued with a regional element with the essences with a neutral business, right? You need to spend the 50 million diamonds to imbue a business that you then intend to burn. And I think it's a really dumb mechanic, and I've been vocal about that. So hopefully they make the decision to change it so that you don't need to spend 50 million diamonds just to then have a chance to merge and be successful. Hopefully they allow us to continue forward with just a neutral business. And then we just need to watch out for merging those neutral businesses with a business that does have an element on it, making sure that we merge it with the one that we want. So we'll see what happens in the future. But those are some of the major highlights that had happened this year. I do want to switch over and we can take a quick look at the roadmap. Now, I know we also talked about some of this stuff in the last podcast, but I just want to go over quickly too. So they launched Lion Token and they're staking. There's some DEXs, so this has been completed. This has not, this Lion tier boost, our NFT booster. I figured that was something that was going to come from, being able to stake your Lion, like your actual loaded Lion on the loaded, like this Lion staking site. But this has not come forward. So that is still a mystery. And also there's been no Lion integration with Main.city. This is Q1 and Q2, way gone. That this should already have been done. There's also some additional exchange listings, and I believe there's the app. You're able to stake it in the app for extra like supercharger bonuses and stuff. Q3, Q4, there was supposed to be a Visa card launch. That never happened. DAO, nope, nothing there as well. And Loaded Lions and Dark Lion AI agents, haven't seen anything in regards to that, but that could be coming with the next expansion for Main.city. And there was also supposed to be Lion buyback events, and unfortunately, I think the only thing that's happened has been just pure selling, which is kind of frustrating. 2026, 2027, so looking forward for this year, there's supposed to be a debit card coming. They haven't launched the Visa card, so I doubt there's a debit card coming, maybe 2027. New token utilities. Be interested, hopefully something Main.city related, but again, they haven't completed the Main.city integration, which is right here, right? This is supposed to be done, so that's utility for it that they've not done quite yet. And there's also a new NFT collection, and this better be 2027, because if it's a 2026 NFT collection, I think the community is going to be quite upset, especially because there is some major gaming and innovation things that have been missed. And then a Lion DAO pilot. So they talk about the DAO and governance up here, and then there's a DAO pilot that's supposed to be coming soon. And we've also got the card program expansion and DAO formation. So some major core infrastructure stuff that needs to happen there, but that would be 2028, 2029. Let's take a look at the gaming and innovation. So we've got Main.city World Series 2. So that was complete. There was the world expansion that was completed, and there was the Fractured Fates. Now there is no AI NPC prototype. I mean, I guess arguably there's the tutorial, which I also forgot to talk about a bit. They did introduce a new tutorial overhaul because the old tutorial was abysmal. It was not very good. Left a lot of players confused. So perhaps the AI NPC, there's a guy that sort of like talks to you a little bit through, text dialogue that you need to read. But that could be maybe what the AI prototype is. Again, though, that came out in like Q4, so it's not really hitting the milestone in Q1, Q2. Now Q3, Q4, we're looking at mobile beta. That is a hot topic, very hot topic. That is nowhere to be seen, talked about, or anything. We have no idea when it's coming, and it was supposed to be apparently end of October. We've also got the Main City competitive events for Season 3, which we've been participating in, and there's another one coming up pretty much the start of this weekend. So good luck to everybody if you're playing that. There's also the quests and exploration system. Now, quests have been added, not significantly, but there's some minor quests. And there's, as far as I know, no exploration, unless they want to classify us flipping through our lands looking for the cyber cubs as exploration. But to me, that's not a good enough thing. And there's also the system, the guild system with Lion integration. So again, no guild system integrated into Main City yet. So hopefully that's coming soon. Now they've got for 2026, 2027, new game launch with Lion integration. So hopefully this is I'd be happy to see a new game, check out something, or maybe a major overhaul expansion for Main City. But again, this could be tied to the new NFTs that they're talking about. And I really hope it's not. I hope that these lands are stuff that we also can use for this new game. And they do say that in the First Frontier collection, right? If you look here, it says, the collection. So these collectibles also possess special powers and are ever evolving. Your land NFT will also act as your ticket to Crypto.com's future Web3 innovations. So the first is a special game featuring some very familiar faces, which they're referencing Main City there is the first game. So be interested to see what else they bring out. What else do they got here? So Main City Season 4, that'll probably be, if I'm going to guess, like we're just getting through, so probably like next year at this time, we'll be talking about World Series 3. We still have a few major events. If we take a look at the calendar here, we're just hitting mid-season, right? So, this is half a year. I guess this could be the next half a year, and we'd be looking at September or something like that for World Series 3, and then leading into World Series 4, or, sometime 2 years from now or something like that. But we'll have to see. What else do we got here? And then there's the AI NPC expansion. So yeah, we'll have to see if there's more interactive AI than what just that one tutorial dude is. And then we've got this incubator program. There's also a VR AR experience, which I'm kind of excited to hear more about, but that's very far off with 2028, 2029. We still don't have a mobile beta, so we'll see what happens. And then Lion AI Rock Band. So as to what that is, maybe we can go to concerts in our mansion or something. Who knows? Okay. And then we've got, so this new website, this is the website we're on right now. This was made, they've also upgraded and, updated it recently. There's also the Lion in Black. So there was the NFT collection that you could buy a random NFT, and it opened up to either be a skateboard, a sweater, or a t-shirt. I ended up getting a t-shirt. So there was that collaboration. There's also the University Beta. I'm not really sure what that is. There's also the Loaded Lions Creators Program. Not sure what that is. And there's the VIP access to sporting events. So this has always been ongoing. They give out a lot of tickets to the Crypto.com arena and other arenas across the world. So there's, always events going on if you're a Loaded Lion. Sometimes they include Dark Lions, which is cool. And then there's exclusive access to NFTs. Again, this is usually, whitelisting on the Crypto.com app if you own a Loaded Lion or Dark Lion. So Q3, Q4, global brand partnership, so elevated collabs. They did just drop like their own Loaded Lion merch. So this is the physical merch here, signature series. There's also an ambassador influencer program. I haven't heard anything much past that. I did talk to Shane a little bit about what that was to entail, and haven't really heard much past, it's coming soon, whenever that is. There's also the Loaded Lions Crypto.com arena. Not really sure what that means. We all know that Crypto.com already has the arena, but maybe they're planning on doing something else with the Loaded Lions specifically. And then 2026, 2027. So Lion Pride and the Global Meetup. So that's a future Lion event, Loaded Lion event. And then there's also content creation grants. So that's kind of cool. So if you're interested in making content, there might be some creator grants to help fund some content. And then there's also in the future, they want to do an annual Lion Summit, which would be cool if you're able to go out and meet with the Loaded Lions somewhere, hopefully feasible, maybe 2 different areas, somewhere for Asia, somewhere for Europe, somewhere for North America, a couple different areas, right? But essentially that's what we're looking at. There's been a few small check marks that you could say, right? Like, yeah, they launched the website, right? There was this Lions of Black. Okay, they launched the token, they have staking, but there's some major stuff that they've missed. I'm not going to harp on the mobile stuff, but the exploration and things, I would like to have seen at least a couple teasers as to what's going on in regards to that, like the quests and exploration, especially with the guilds. I'm interested in that. But overall, we're just holding tight at this point. Hopefully we're getting some more information soon. But yeah, so, that's sort of the year in review. I don't think there's anything else major that I've missed. If there is, drop it down in the comments below. What else do we got? Because yeah, there's nothing really else. The big thing was the launch of these new lands, right? So you can flip through and check out all the different regions, right? From mythical to your starter packs. And the artwork on the lands are awesome. This is one of my favorite, these two. I actually really like this one. We can go check it out. I just like the peacefulness of it. Turn on the sound. So you get the crickets and stuff in the background, and I don't know, it just seems peaceful. So I really like this. Avion Lake is what it's called. So it's one of my favorite lands. The Thought Altar is also really cool. If we go and check that one out. A little bit of snow here, snow-capped trees and stuff. I like the little bird head on the altar over there. And you got this other sort of portal-looking altar over here. So yeah, some really cool artwork. They definitely did a great job when they built these. So to me, I think it was really well done. I'm not disappointed in the artwork on and the actual look of most of the lands. I think they all look really good. I guess my biggest disappointment has been, which I want to talk about final here, is the dilution, right? So they do say that the next NFT drop, right, is going to come out once we have 250,000 players. Now, one thing I want to caution about is, let's take a look at the leaderboard. For a snapshot, it's the 5th today. And let's drop down. Come on. So we're nearing 200,000, right? We're getting there. But one thing I want to show you too is if you look at the amount of actual players, right? So we've got 197,955 players. Kind of funny, the last guy here has actually got a Loaded Lion PFP, but for the most part, they're all just anonymous lions, pretty much bots, if you ask me. That's what I'm thinking a lot of these are, bots that just farm blueprints and sell them. At least they were for a while. So that's one of my major concerns, is if they're going to introduce more lands at 250, we're almost there, but that's not even remotely close. If we take a look here, this is a little bit more representative of what we have for, I wouldn't even say active players. It takes a day to get over 200 or 2000, right? Like these people have either not really been playing, they played for like a couple days and just stopped, or whatever, right? But regardless, like we've got maybe like rough estimate 4,000 players, right? Like these people really aren't playing much. To me, like you need to hit prestige 1, and that's going to give you a good idea of like what you've got for actual players. So these people around here, they might be playing, they might not be. They also introduced this new player, you can't attack them, so that's kind of cool for the newer players to be able to have some protection. But overall, I think if they're planning on introducing more lands at 250, we already introduced a bunch of lands, and the floor price here, if we take a look prior, so like somewhere around here, you can see the average daily price. So here's a good spot. Like this would have been like one of the rares, a couple of the rares being sold, right? This is sort of the floor price, like $50 for a starter, which is your dunes, right? So this is sort of around the time we take a look. Some of the bigger, if you sold a bigger land, like this is probably about the price of what the floor was, right? Like for, I think it was around $55, somewhere in that range. It even hit up to 60 during the World Series for the base, like the starter NFT, right? Which now you could see is at $19. So if we flip over, these are all $19, right? For the very basic land. So they got cut in third, right? Like, or at least in half. We could say definitely in half, right? And that was due to the introduction of the other lands, which is your Fractured Fates. So if we open up the Fractured Fates, now they also started off, I think they were around like $30. And they've sort of dropped now that people are getting an idea of what the, the other attributes they call them, right? So if we click on, let's click on this one here, we can take a quick look at the properties, and still nobody knows what any of these properties even mean, right? Like we're still waiting to be told, but we've got resources, which is 5, monsters, which is 4, and size, which is 1. Now this is actually kind of cool. This is a maxed out land for resources, I'm pretty sure. I think 5 is the max for a starter. But these are also some of the details that, again, should be part of like the quests, exploration, all this stuff that we still have absolutely no idea. Like it's been almost, it's been, okay, let's say at least like 8 months, right? And we still have no idea what these lands really do, other than they've added regions and they look cool. There's all these resources and everything that still need to be divulged. And if we go back and take a look at these ones, they retroactively added this type of stuff to them as well. So this does change, similar to like the backpacks where you've got capacity, as sort of like a variance. This does change it. So now you've got like these different resources and size and everything to make the land either more rare or better or worse, right, compared to other lands in that same category. So yeah, one thing we did see, if we take a look at some of the other things, so this is where I'm talking about like the major drop in the asset price. So epics used to be about $200. We're down to, so they've lost about $50. So not significant, but I mean, this one's kind of rare, 134. Let's also take a look. So rares used to be something like $100, sometimes $90, somewhere around there. So yeah, again, they got cut in half, a little bit more than half. They're down to $40. If you take a look at legendaries, they used to be around like $700. So they've lost about $150, almost $200, I would say. And then the mythicals. Now these ones are interesting because they're held still fairly high. So yeah, look at they were up to like 35, I think 3,500. So they've lost about $1,000 maybe in price there. But again, there's 242 of them compared to if we go and take a look at the mythicals in comparison for the Fractured Fates. Right, there's a lot more mythicals. So if we take a look, rarity, mythicals, because this is across 4 different regions, right? So there's like sort of like 60-ish or something like that for each region, right? Because there's now a region. So you can see this one here is your Crimson Reaches region. This is your Sapphire Sanctum. This is your Aurora. And this is your Molten Forge region. So the Molten Forge one looks like it's got a bit more premium above your typical block Nexus. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see. Again, this could also be, it maybe has really good stats on it. But yeah, not too bad. If you were able to mint something like this, you probably made out pretty good. I know I bought most of mine. I didn't mint any mythicals. I only minted a couple legendaries and then the one primordial. Let's also take a quick look at the primordial. So these were hitting almost 4,000 at one point. So they've lost a bit too, just because of how slow the developer is. So they've lost about $1,000 as well in floor price. With the hype being there near the start of the mint. And then once everything got minted out, everybody was kind of excited. But now that, it's been months on end of us being like, well, when's stuff coming out? Like, what's going on? And like the most recent innovation that they've added is the elements. Finally, it's just, been, I think, a little bit too slow for a lot of people. So here we are sort of here we are in the start of 2026, and there's still no word on some of these major milestones that were supposed to be completed for the roadmap. But anyways, that's all I wanted to really talk to you guys about here. What do we have for time length? So a little longer than I think I wanted to go, but there was a lot of stuff. I mean, it's a full year in review, right? So if I missed anything, drop it down below. I think I covered, for the most part, everything I could remember that happened. There might have been a few other minor stuff that did go down. But, to cover it, like we had the World Series 2 with the Void winning basically last minute there. We also had the Fractured Fates drop, which then culminated into the regions, right? So then we got the regions expansion plus, the Daily Roar. Was Daily Roar added? No, I don't think so. It was the daily rewards, not Daily Roar. The Daily Rewards was added as well. And then we also had the quests added, which are these little quests over here. If it'll load in. So we had these added. We also had the skins. I can't remember if I think the skins were this year. I don't think the Cretan Monk skin was at the start of or the end of last year. I think it was basically for right at the end of the World Series, because I don't think they wanted to introduce. Yeah, they didn't introduce it until the end of the main competition. But then we had the skins added. Now the skins are all paid for, unfortunately. So we'll see if any new ones come out for NFTs. We also had a lot of partners, so we can cover that quick. We had, Cretan Monks were already in. I think Crazy Monsters were added right at the start of the year. So there's the Crazy Monsters. They're still minting if you're interested in trying to mint. There's still some legendaries. You'll see the link down below. But we've also got the Ishan Revengers. So they came into the game. Let's see if these can load or not. They've been having issues with the PFPs loading. Anyways, we'll just continue. So Ishan Revengers came in. Then there's the Cows Gone Mad. These were also added really relatively soon, right after their mint. And then we also had Synthetics. So you can see here, this is kind of funny. The Cows Gone Mad and Synthetics are both Void. So we have two Void partners coming back to back. But these are all the NFT collections that were added this year, along with the skins. We also did the change from all businesses producing gold to basically the lowest region producing gold. And then they reverted back to all businesses producing gold. But now the cash cost to upgrade said businesses got 7x'd. So it became a lot more expensive. And then we got into the main series of competitions. So we've had a few competitions and we are leading into the World Series event now. As well as with the daily rewards came some of these interesting little skins that we have. There was also the mass dilution of businesses. So the flooding of blueprints and the flooding of high quality businesses into the market that significantly destroyed the market value. What else did we have? I mean, that's pretty much it that I can remember. Oh, essences. Essences were added. I think quality, forget when quality was added. Pretty sure that was 2024, so not last year. But it could have been added right at the end of, or right at the end of 2024, start of 2025. So, but the essences is the newest thing that you can add to your businesses to give them attributes that align with the region that you like to keep them on. Personally, I am not using that feature at the moment. But yeah, that really summarizes, I think, everything else. You know, we had the lion token as well, some staking. So we talked a bit about that. Some of the stuff that they were not accomplishing in regards to what was going on with the lion staking. But, and then we also did a quick little look through. So if we head back home here, you can see a lot of the other stuff that they have on their website. So I'll make sure that links down below as well if you're interested in looking at it. But, you know, they got all the different little clips and whatnot going on here. Maybe these are the AI personalities they're talking about. I mean, they're definitely AI. But, oh yeah, they also had this big event where they did the drone show. So they broke the world record for the drone show. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, so we got loaded lions, the different characters. There's the main city game, loaded lion token. There's also the shop. So if you're interested, you can click on the shop and check out some of the merch that they have. It's apparently all limited edition. It doesn't look like it's selling out too fast. If we clicked on this, let's see. Doesn't look like any of them are sold out. So still available if you're interested in grabbing yourself a hoodie. I'm just kind of sad that it's only black for void. I'm not a big fan of wearing white, so I most definitely will not be buying one because I do not want a white loaded lion shirt. That is a recipe to get dirty very quick. So we also have the Dark Lion characters, and we have the Cyber Cub characters, and then they've got the gear. Actually, what happens if we click on this? Okay, so we can come in and check out some of the gear. So I'm going to have to maybe do a quick little tour of this, maybe make a video of it once I get a chance, but it doesn't really look like anything too crazy or significant. But kind of cool to look at, right? You get all the different gear laid out, so your backpacks. It'd be kind of cool if they actually used the proper backpack looks here for the expedition gear. This looks like the legendary one. Don't have a moonwalker there. I guess maybe they have them spread out somehow. This kind of looks like the commuter, the very starter backpack, but not really. And this is also some of the actual equipment, right? This is, I think, your Ember, or Sunburnt. This is your Azul lamp. This looks like the Sunburnt lamp, compass, stuff like that. So pretty cool looking. Let's take a quick look at the Cyber Cubs as well, and then we'll end the video here. See what they got. Okay, I was hoping they maybe had like some named ones or something that you could take a look at, but doesn't really look like it. Just sort of highlights a few of them. I don't think I've ever seen that guy before. Looks kind of cool. Okay, and then last but not least, let's just take a quick look at the Dark Lions. I'm assuming it's probably the same, just sort of, yeah, some images of the Dark Lions. That one's kind of cool. Wonder if any of mine are on here. Does not look like it. Oh well. So yeah, that's sort of what we got. I mean, overall, I think we're progressing okay. I'm a bit disappointed we didn't get a bit more new content, such as like the exploration, or even just some teasers to give us an idea of what's coming down the pike here. But unfortunately, you know, we're sort of kept in the dark and just moving forward, hoping that everything's moving forward properly. But yeah, I mean, I guess let's hope that 2026 brings mobile exploration and a lot more actual active players. Because yeah, right now I'm still estimating, and if we take a look, the best way to really estimate is how many people played in the past event, right? And if we scroll down, 14 16. So 1,416 players logged in to play. And a lot of those probably logged in, sold a few things, and left, right? So you can see compared to, what was it, 16 was it? World Series. Yeah, there we go. Let's go and take a look at how many players played World Series 2. So we lost over 300 players, 350 players here from the main series competition, World Series 2. Let's take a look at the very first competition. So Rise of the Golden City. So from 1764, let's see how many we have. Oh, way more. Yeah, so we've lost quite a bit. Mind you, probably a lot of bots here as well. But yeah, we've definitely lost a significant amount of players from the first World Series to the second World Series, and then even 3 from the second World Series to the most recent series. So not a good sign, but I'm hoping that things turn around soon. So anyways, guys, it's been a long one. Hopefully everybody did have a great holiday season, and good luck in the next competition for the mid-season competition. I don't know if it's really got a name, but mid-season competition. We'll see who ends up taking it. My bet's sort of between Meta or FTB Hacker or FFTB Hacker. He did recently take rank 1 in normal mode. So he's really moving. Take a look at he just dropped down. Of course. I'm saying, here he's shows Meta here, so he's at 1S. But FFTB Hacker is rank 1 now. Let's just type him in here. You could see I don't agree with his tactic, but yeah, he's dropping down and he's hitting people that are basically prestige 10-ish area, because he leaves all of his business combos on. That's at least what I theorize. He's never confirmed it, but that's what I've been seeing. So you can see he just dropped down. If we check again, he's probably done his attack and has popped back up. There he is. So he's really moving. He's probably going to hit Division 3 probably in a couple months. So then that'll be interesting, because you can see we've got 8 people now in Division 2. And if we take a scroll down here, I think we're at like almost 200 in Division. Holy shit. This is where they need to clean the leaderboard up. You can't even use the side thing. They need to like make this button like skip 100 or something. This might be a bit of scrolling. Let's see where we're at. But there should be probably 150 to 200 players in Division 1. So, I think I was number 77 to join Division 1. So, yeah, we've at least doubled the population of Division 1 players since I had joined. So where are we at? Right here. And there we go. So this would be pretty much the end of it. So we're looking at, about 200 players right on the line there. So 197 players as of today that are in Division 1. And then the rest are all sort of pushing up into Division 1 at the moment. So that's sort of what we're looking at, guys. It's been definitely an interesting year for 2025. And let's hope 2026 brings a lot more development to Main City, so that we can actually get playing some more exploration, have a lot more players coming in, and see the game really truly thrive. So let's just, fingers crossed, best of luck, and also good luck in the next competition. Hopefully everybody does well. It is a 2-week one. I'm not a big fan of the 2-week ones, but it is a mid-season like finale competition. So hopefully the prize pool is pretty enticing to make you want to actually play it. So yeah, good luck, guys. Thanks for watching. Drop down below if I did miss anything significant. Hopefully I didn't. And let me know if there's anything else you guys want to talk about or want to see me cover. But I'm going to do a couple more videos coming up real soon pertaining to some strategies, especially getting into Division 1, what the strategy I'm using and what I see some other people trying. So hopefully you guys enjoy those videos. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.